ABC 10 News at 7 starts now.
Undelivered ballots and voter guides found scattered on the ground in City Heights. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt. Steve has the night off. ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala spoke to the man who found the ballots and to the registrar's office about how it will respond.
I was out walking the dogs and I found this stack of voter ballots. Looks ballot envelopes and then the voter guides.
Jeremy Alanick says he snapped these pictures in City Heights last week. He says he discovered the unvoted ballots and voter information pamphlets scattered around on 45th and Dwight Streets.
It was probably somewhere between 15 and 20. Just kept finding them as the more I walked. But I was just kind of furious.
Alanick says he didn't immediately report the incident because he was on a job walking dogs for a client, but he was working to get in touch with the registrar of voters on Wednesday.
I would have picked them all up and everything and then taken them to the post office, but, I'm thinking about the dogs and, that just wasn't running through my mind at that moment.
Registrar of Voters Michael Vu tells me while situations like this are uncommon, investigations are launched as soon as his office is aware.
We would certainly have the U.S. Postal Service involved.
He says if voters have concerns or haven't received their ballots in the mail, options are available.
When a voter says that they have not received their mail ballot, we have the ability to suspend that mail ballot and reissue them another one. There are voted mail ballots that come back to our office. We compare the signature off of the envelope against the signature on file too. So every single one of these are validated.
And if you are voting by mail, Vu also recommends tracking your ballot.
Voters themselves, they have the ability to track their mail ballot as it's traveling to them or traveling back to us after they have voted.
He says if you come across a situation like this, report it to his office right away. Mimi Alcala, ABC 10 News.
A spokesperson for the U.S. Postal Inspection Service said they're unable to comment at this time. And early voting is off the charts here in California. Every Californian was sent a mail-in ballot, and more than 1 million have already returned them, the most ever at this point in any California election. At this point, 4 years ago, just 72,000 ballots had been returned. So far, about 140,000 voters in San Diego County alone have sent back their ballots. Turning now to the weather and another hot day in the county. We found people enjoying the beach weather at La Jolla Shores, where one visitor from India was loving life.
Temperature right now in India where we live at, it's 105. And right here it's 82 degrees. So right here, just can't beat the weather. It's beautiful.
And meteorologist Angelica Campos is joining us now with a look at the temperatures today. Also a beautiful sunset this evening, Angelica.
That's right, Kim. Just beautiful outside this evening, but temperatures have been a problem, well above the average. And while it may not be like India 105 near the coast, it definitely was that hot in Rancho San Diego with 102 degrees today. In San Diego, we made it to 88. Vista 89. We did break a record today in Campo. The previous record was 95. Today we made it to 100 degrees. And Poway tied the record of 95. The rest of the county was very close, but only a couple of records for today, which is okay. I think we can handle that. Temperatures are a little bit cooler in comparison to yesterday, but not enough. Even at this hour, we're still at 80 degrees in Poway, 80 in Alpine, and 83 in Escondido, with 70s along the coast. But we are expecting temperatures to range close to 15 degrees above the normal tomorrow. Heat advisory will stay in effect until Friday. I'll have more on what the temperatures will look like for the rest of the week.
We'll check back in. Turning now to coronavirus, the county reported another 303 cases today, bringing our total to 51,300. There were also another 4 deaths, bringing our total to 844. The strip club where Padres player Tommy Pham was stabbed this week has been ordered to stop its live entertainment. We obtained a cease and desist order the county sent to Pacers in the Midway district. While the club is allowed to serve food under the COVID health orders, entertainment such as exotic dancing is prohibited. Pacers' social media accounts make it clear it's been allowing stripping in violation of those orders. Point Loma Nazarene University is dealing with an outbreak of COVID cases among students. As of this morning, the school reports 19 active cases, 14 of which are on campus. New cases have been traced back to 4 residential halls, which are now being monitored closely. Students who tested positive have been moved from their dorms to other housing for isolation. San Diego's first jury trial since the start of the pandemic will enter its 3rd day tomorrow. But as our Jennifer Kastner reports, the low turnout for potential jurors in this case has the courts worried about staffing other trials.
Civic duty continues to be strained by the coronavirus.
The system doesn't work without jurors.
On Wednesday, ABC 10 News interviewed San Diego Superior Court presiding Judge Lorna Alksny about this week's first criminal jury trial since all jury trials were halted in March.
We summoned 800 jurors. About 250 or so postponed their service, like we told them in the flyer to do if they felt uncomfortable or had a conflict or had a comorbidity or something like that. And of the remaining jurors, we called all of them in and only 41 showed. I mean, I can only anecdotally think that people are unsure about public transportation or coming back downtown to serve.
Wednesday marked day 2 of the trial, an elder abuse case. Judge Alksny said the courts have sufficient safety measures in place for jurors.
When they went back into the courtroom, then they have these plexiglass barriers in between them if they're less than 6 feet apart. And everybody wore masks. There's hand sanitizer everywhere. It's as safe as going to Costco.
The courts have maintained that the only way to address the backlog of cases is with cooperation from San Diegans who are called for duty.
What I told the jurors yesterday is if you had a loved one that was incarcerated pending trial and nobody showed up to do the jury trial, how would they ever get their day in court?
Another trial is scheduled for next week and 2 for the following week, with the numbers of summonses continuing to increase. Jennifer Kastner, ABC 10 News.
The court says there's no plan to penalize people who don't appear for jury duty, but that could change if turnout continues to be low. And it's now been 7 months since the pandemic began, and there are still a lot of questions about the best ways to treat patients with COVID-19. ABC 10 News anchor Derek Stahl is going in depth on how hospitals are working together to answer them.
Doctors agree the best way to fight any disease is to tailor the treatment for each individual based on their age, their gender, their race, and other factors. But how does one doctor do that with a new disease like COVID-19, especially if their hospital has only seen a few hundred cases?
There might be some patterns you can get from 500 patients, but there might be some others that you cannot.
UC San Diego professor Dr. Lucila Ono Machado has a solution. Pool data. She's leading the charge behind COVID19questions.org, a collaboration between 12 medical systems spanning more than 200 hospitals across the country.
Each hospital is a little small to answer the questions. So by having it all together, we get it answers quicker.
They're going after answers on how long patients with diabetes or cancer stay in the hospital and whether COVID-19 is deadlier for smokers or non-smokers. Their findings revealed that men are much more likely to wind up on a ventilator than women.
And they quantified just how much better we've gotten at treating COVID-19 over time. Since May 1st, hospital stays have gotten more than 10 days shorter on average. That's important for hospital managers planning and predicting bed space.
We decided to open this to the public and to our colleagues, and then we pick which answers have not been answered before and seem to be of most general interest.
If this sounds like a straightforward approach, it's not. Patient confidentiality laws make it hard for hospitals to share data, and the information released by the CDC is limited. The collaboration's research is based on what's called observational data. So Dr. Ono Machado says it's not a replacement for a randomized controlled clinical trial, which takes time. But she says at a time when fast answers can save lives, COVID19answers.org could help. Derek Stahl, ABC 10 News.
The collaboration can draw from data on more than 29,000 hospitalized COVID patients and compare it to data on about 45 million patients in the hospital for other reasons.